Welcome to Lumion 9 Tutorial 12 about working with multiple parties on one project and merging their scenes into one. In many projects, there is more than just one person involved in the design. For example, one architect focuses on the house, and a landscape designer works on the garden. In the end, the result of both parties need to be merged and shown to the client together. To understand Lumion's merge scene function, let's start with the basics and create a simple scene with just one tree and create one image. Now, let's make another basic scene with another tree type and create an image from another angle. When we now merge the first scene with the second, Lumion presents us with some options. Lumion analyzed the first project and found that it only contains one object of type nature and one camera. We can now choose to either add the models from the first project to the scene or replace the nature object of the second scene with the one from the first scene. Same for the camera. We can choose to replace the camera viewpoints of the second project with the ones from the first project, or leave them in place. Let's first choose Add Objects and Load Photos from New Scene File. As a result, we now have both trees in one scene, and the camera of the first project has replaced the one from the second. If we had more than one camera in each scene, they would all be replaced. Let's now go back to the original scenes. Merge Scene 1 with Scene 2 and choose Remove Models in Current Scene and Add Models from Scene File. And for the camera, let's this time not click on the button Load Photos from New Scene File. This time, the tree of Scene 2 is replaced by the tree of Scene 1, and the camera viewpoint is kept as it was, looking down from a bird's eye viewpoint. Let's now look at a more realistic case, the design of a new villa with a nice garden. To allow the architect and the landscape designer to work on the project simultaneously, the terrain needs to be exported separately from the house. The terrain and the house are imported into Lumion. The architect and the landscape designer both work on their own copy of the project in Lumion. The architect can continue his design work on the house, and in Lumion he can set the materials. For the landscape designer, it is useful to keep the first house design visible in Lumion, to test sightlines and perspectives, for example. He or she can apply garden materials and add objects like trees and plants. Before a presentation to their client or an internal design review, they need to merge the scenes. Since most of the Lumion work was done by the landscape designer, it is best to use his scenes as the basis. He needs to delete or hide his version of the house. The architect needs to delete his version of the terrain object. When we now merge the villa scene with the garden scene using the Add Models from Scene File option, the house initially does not show up. The reason is that the landscape designer lifted the imported terrain and house much higher up, so he could also work on the surrounding area using Lumion's landscaping tools. All we need to do is increase the vertical position of the merged house object, and now the scene is ready for presentation. This concludes Lumion Video Tutorial 12 about merging scenes.